Welcome to the MyCitizenAgency channel. Today we will discuss one of the most talked about topics in the field of relocation, repatriation. There are dozens of conflicting opinions on the internet. Some say it is the easiest way to obtain a European passport, while others claim that it is difficult and almost impossible. What is the truth? What are the actual requirements? And who is this path suitable for? In this video, we will debunk the main myths and explain how it works in practice. Repatriation is the return of a person to their historical homeland based on their origin. It is not an investment program, a work visa, or a student residence permit. The basis is confirmed ethnic affiliation, for example, Slovenian, Romanian, Croatian, or Bulgarian roots. At the same time, many countries take into account not only the nationality of the ancestor, but also their territorial affiliation, that is, residence in a territory that was part of a specific state during a certain historical period. It is important where exactly the ancestor lived and to which state this region belonged at the time of his or her residence. After completing the established procedure, a person can obtain citizenship or a status leading to it in accordance with the legislation of a particular country. A very common misconception is that all you need to do is submit an application, and in a few months you will receive your passport. This creates the impression that it is a formal procedure without serious checks or additional requirements. In reality, repatriation is a full-fledged legal process that requires time, accuracy, and strict compliance with the law. The procedure includes several stages: preliminary analysis of documents and family history, confirmation of the origin or territorial affiliation of ancestors, collection of archival references and their legalization, preparation and submission of an application, consideration of the case by state authorities, possible interview, issuance of an official decision. At each stage, the submitted data is verified. State authorities analyze not only the fact of kinship, but also the authenticity of the documents, their correspondence to historical periods, and the territorial affiliation of the region where the ancestors lived. The time frames are always individual and depend on the country, the complexity of the case, the availability of archival documents, and the current workload of the authorities. For example, in Romania, the procedure goes through the National Directorate for Citizenship, where cases are considered in the order of the established queue. It is important to understand that this is an official legal mechanism with regulated stages and checks. Repatriation is not automatic registration or an expedited formality, but a sequential process that requires careful preparation and legal precision. This is one of the most dangerous myths. Family stories are important as a starting point, but they have no legal force in themselves. Government agencies make decisions based solely on official documents, not on oral testimony or the memories of relatives. Documentary evidence is required to apply for repatriation: archival records, civil status records, metric documents, documents indicating the nationality of ancestors, confirmation of place of residence and territorial affiliation. It is important to establish an unbroken chain of kinship from the applicant to the ancestor on whose basis the application is being submitted. Any break in this chain may lead to the suspension of the case or its rejection. If the documents are lost, archival work begins. This includes searching state and regional archives, analyzing historical records, and restoring records. Sometimes the process takes months and requires contacting several institutions. Without evidence, the application will not be accepted for consideration. Repatriation is not a declaration of origin, but a legally confirmed fact that must be documented. There is a belief that you don't need to learn the language at all. The main thing is to obtain citizenship, and the rest is not so important. Even if knowledge of the language is not a mandatory requirement in a particular country at the application stage, it becomes critically important after obtaining citizenship. Language directly affects successful integration, job search and professional development, interaction with government agencies, access to medical and social services, children's education, everyday communication and adaptation in society. Without knowledge of the language, a person remains isolated and faces constant everyday and legal difficulties. Repatriation is not only a legal status, but also a full life in a new country. Therefore, language is the basis for comfortable and sustainable integration. Theoretically, yes, the law does not prohibit independent submission of documents for repatriation. However, in practice, this process involves many legal and technical nuances. Errors in documents, inaccuracies in questionnaires, discrepancies in dates, incorrect translations, or lack of necessary legalization can lead to the suspension of the case, additional requests, or even rejection. It is important to understand that government agencies evaluate not only the availability of documents, but also their legal correctness, consistency of family ties, and compliance with established requirements. Working with professionals allows you to objectively assess the prospects even before submitting the application. Determine which documents are really necessary. Build a correct chain of evidence of kinship. Collect a complete and correct set of documents. Avoid procedural errors. Minimize the risk of returns and additional requests. Reduce the time frame through competent preparation. This is especially important in situations where documents are located in different archives and countries, require restoration, or require historical analysis of territorial affiliation. Repatriation is a legal procedure where accuracy and consistency are crucial, and it is precisely high-quality preparation that largely determines the final result. If the grounds are confirmed and the procedure is successfully completed, the person receives citizenship of a European Union member state. This means expanded rights and opportunities throughout the EU. In particular, citizenship provides the right to live and work in any European Union country, the ability to freely choose a place of residence within the EU, access to the European education system on an equal footing with citizens of the country, medical care within the framework of national health care systems, the right to start a business and engage in entrepreneurial activity, free movement without visas to most countries in the world. In addition to legal rights, it also provides a high level of legal protection and stability, which is ensured by European legislation. But it is important to understand that repatriation is not a simplified formality, but a full-fledged legal process that requires attention, documentary accuracy, and time. It is a serious approach to preparation that determines the final result. The first step is professional consultation and a detailed analysis of your family history. It is important not just to recall the stories of relatives, but to systematically evaluate all the facts and documents that can confirm your ancestry. At this stage, it is necessary to determine the country of origin of your ancestors, the territorial affiliation of the region where they lived during a specific historical period, the availability of supporting documents, the possibility of conducting an archival search in their absence, whether your situation complies with current legal requirements. The continuity of the family line is also analyzed, from the applicant to the ancestor on whose basis the application is planned. Sometimes even a single surviving document, a birth certificate, archival extract, or record of nationality, can be the starting point for a full restoration of the evidence base. A competent preliminary assessment allows you to understand the real prospects and choose the right strategy. So, let's sum up. Repatriation is a legal way to obtain citizenship by origin, but it only works when there are real grounds for it and they are confirmed by documents. We have examined the main myths and seen the reality. Repatriation does not happen automatically, is not based on oral accounts, and requires careful preparation. And even after obtaining citizenship, an important part of the journey remains: integration, where knowledge of the language becomes the basis for a comfortable life, work, and communication with government agencies. If you are just planning to immigrate to the European Union, leave a request for a free consultation at the link in the description. We will study your situation, draw up your personal immigration plan, and prepare a complete package of documents for successfully obtaining citizenship in one of the European Union countries. Thank you for watching this video. If you are interested in this topic, subscribe to our channel and feel free to ask questions in the comments. We will regularly publish reviews of programs, answer frequently asked questions, and share important news about immigration law and life in the EU. Your journey to Europe begins with the first step. My Citizen Agency is there for you every step of the way.